Hi everyone, how are you? So this is the picture I colored yesterday, my last video, using the Faber Castell skin tone set. And I after I colored this, I got it from this book, Color Me Beautiful, Women of the World by Jason Hamilton. So after I looked on Instagram, I always enjoy looking on Instagram to see how other people colored these pictures. I think it's a lot of fun and just getting different ideas of different ways people color these pages. I find it very interesting. And then I came across this page. Now, this is another page from the same coloring book. And I thought, wow, when I first saw it, it really stood out for how deep and rich and just amazing it looked. And I believe she used Prismacolor pencil. She doesn't say that, but I think that's what she normally uses on from her other posts. And she also mentioned, I don't know if I can zoom in here. I can't really zoom in too much. Oops, wrong one. But if you read what it says on the image, let me see, I can make it a little bigger. She says that she printed this onto Strathmore Tan Paper from the book. So I was like, oh, tan paper. I didn't think about that because when I copied this picture, I just did on regular copy paper. I didn't even think about tan copy paper. And there is tan copy paper. Of course, there's all kinds of colors that you can get with copy paper size to print out. I never thought of that. So it's something to consider because I never used tan paper. And I'm thinking, looking at this, I'm thinking I've got to start using tan paper because and it's not the first time I've seen amazing results like this from using tan paper. And I thought, I really have to give it a try. So now, like I said, you can buy reams, like just like copy paper. You can buy tan paper on Amazon and other places. But I happen to have this same paper that she's talking about, Strathmore Tan, and yeah. So I was like, okay. It's a 9 by 12, so I had to cut off an inch of the side, and it's a thin paper. It's not very thick. It is 80 pounds, so it easily goes through the printer, just like copy paper, or even better than cardstock or whatever. It's a little thinner, I think. So here we go. This is how it came out. It's the same picture. Yeah, exact same picture. Just instead of coloring on white copy paper, I'm going to do the same thing again. Just to be because I'm just curious now how different this is going to look. I'm going to use the same pencils. I have my skin tone set here ready to go, and I'll use the same pencils. And instead of coloring on white paper, I'm going to use the tan paper. And yeah, I think this will be fun. I'm curious to see. Judging by the pictures I've seen, especially that latest one, I think I may be using my tan paper going forward, or if I really like it, if I really get into tan paper all the time, I may just get a ream of paper of tan color and just print out copy and print out any coloring pages on that. Yeah. So I'm going to start again as I did with the other page. And I have my, swatch here with the colors. And I'm starting with the 804, the Onyx Black color. And I'm going to do it again. Let's see here. So again, it's very similar weight. It's a little bit thicker than the white copy paper I used, but just slightly. It's very smooth. So I think it should give a very smooth effect for the skin in the end. I realize that I don't like using the more textured paper with the faces. I mean, sometimes I do, but I think it's harder to get that very smooth finish at least with these pencils. Now these are the cheaper Faber Castell. You know, if you're using a professional grade pencil like Prismacolor or any of the others, then you have enough pigment and thickness to the pencil that even with a vellum, which is vellum is a bit more toothy, rough, a little rougher, gives you good texture. So it is good for adding multiple layers because you want that tooth of the paper. Smooth paper is great, but you can only add a few layers on smooth paper before the tooth gets filled up. So it depends how many layers you want to put and how vibrant you want it to be. It will be having a little tooth to the paper will allow you more colors on there. But if you want it's a really smooth skin, it is better to go with a smoother paper. But again, you can only add a few layers, so you're limited to how many pencils you can use, and gradients and whatnot. So I'm basically going to do the same type of coloring I just did with the last video. I'm just going to use the same pencils. I am trying to get a direct kind of comparison just for myself, just for, to see. And I thought it might be of interest to other people to see or decide for themselves whether or not to give tan paper a try. I bought the tan notebook that I have from Strathmore a long time ago. It's been sitting on my shelf for I think like a year or so. I just haven't been using it. I tried it once. I tried doing one thing, and at the time I just wasn't so into it. I just wasn't as excited about it. But now, it's like with everything else with art. Sometimes you're just not into it for some part of it. Maybe you're just not interested in using certain pencils or certain watercolors. I also do watercolor paintings as well, and I use watercolor on my coloring pages. So sometimes I'm just into watercolor, and sometimes I'm not. I take a break and just use pencils. So I think it was that way with this. As soon as I was inspired by seeing that picture on Instagram, I knew I had to take out that tan paper and finally use it some more. That's what I love about the Instagram. I mean, uh, I love it and I don't at the same time. Or the YouTube. I mean, I love YouTube and seeing how other people, you know, you, color and styles they use and um, tutorials and how to get the best look, what you're looking for, depending on what kind of page you're doing. But at the same time, it's uh, it's kind of tempting too because you think, oh, I want to use that what they're using, whether it's markers or acrylic markers or certain brand of pencils and whatnot. So it can um, get carried away with the pencils, as I think I have a little bit. But I do, plan on using just like this Strat. I mean, I know when I bought this tan Strathmore, there was a reason for it. I didn't just, wake up wanting it. I think that I had been watching a tutorial or, someone using it for a coloring page and knew that this paper is actually supposed to be easier to color on tan paper because basically your midtones are done for you. Maybe make it a little brighter here. There we go. That's a little better. That's too dark before. Basically, the midtones are done for you. So all you have to worry about are the shading and the highlights for the most part. So, but I noticed on that page that we saw on, I'll put it up again. I don't see any gray really. Maybe the earrings a little bit, but although she's using the same tan paper, it looks like she's covered it over with everything. So she's not actually using the tan color as the midtone. It's just that the midtone being there, it's almost like you already have a layer of pencil down, and now you're going on top of that. So now I expect that my colors will look deeper even though I'm using the same exact pencils, putting the same exact layers on it, I think that it's going to look richer and more colorful. And just like I put more work into it, it'll look, because with white paper, you're fighting against the highlights there and trying to darken everything down, and that requires layer upon layer of pencil, right? And that's why the better pencils with the more pigments are going to do a better job of covering all that highlight off, you know. But now if you have tan paper or gray paper or whatever paint colors, all different colors you can use. Now I have them. So I already have a mid-tone down, so now I'm adding on to it, and it's job's half done basically for as far as getting that darker shading. So I think she is going to end up looking richer and maybe darker here. So I am going to use again the same colors. So it's gonna be the same colors I did before, but with an additional mid-tone layer underneath. So I think that this will be. And you also have a lot more control over your highlights. Whereas when you're coloring on white paper, you have to remember, don't color over that highlight, That's why I like having a white pencil to sort of mark it off. So in case I accidentally do go over it with a pencil, it won't ruin it completely. But with gray paper or tan paper like this, I have full control over the highlights to add it at the end, because a white pencil will show up on this paper unlike with the white paper. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this turns out. And if I have the time and energy, I may finish both pages just for a comparison at the end with the full page colored in. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to stand that though, because that is a lot of work. But I'll see what I can do to get around to it. It might take some time to get to that. So many things I want to color and do. All right, so I think I've put on enough of the darker shade here. Add a little bit more here on the side of the temple. All right, so now I'm going to switch to the walnut, which is 806. Okay. And again, go over the onyx and come up a little bit. Extend it out. Maybe doing this a little quicker, a little less neatly than I did the first one. I kind of rushed out a little bit just for the video because, again, I'm not trying to make it perfect. I'm just trying to see how different this will look with the same pencils on different paper and with the same picture. So I am like moving quicker, you know. as quickly as possible. I'll still try to get good results. And if you ever, not have a coloring page and you're not sure what colors would look best on this, just want some ideas, I highly recommend Instagram. They probably do the same on what's that one called? It's that page with all the pictures on it that I never use. You know how there's like certain places you'll go to all the time and other ones just completely ignore. But I find Instagram to be a really great source of inspiration and um, wonderful people who all enjoy the adult coloring and give each other tips. And many have YouTube channels and they do amazing, amazing artwork. The way they transform these pages, I'm just always wowed. All right, so that's that. So next, going back to the 787, we are with the let me sharpen it a little bit more. Back to the terracotta. Terracotta. Here we go. I'm gonna do a light layer and then I'm gonna press down hard, like I did with the first one. Okay, and one more light layer on the neck. Because I'm using tan paper now, I have to put in a highlight now. I really wish I had a white color to put the highlight, but we don't have a white. These are the lightest colors we have, so I think I'm going to use the porcelain color for the highlights, which is 802. Oatmeal is really light too, but porcelain's a little lighter, so 802, here it is. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to uh, put it in under the eye, and again, I'm going to get the Onyx color 804 out again. And make sure I put a shadow on top of the eye. There. Get shaded in there. And then I'm going to color the eye, and I don't remember what color I used. 805 caramel. No, I think I used. I make her eyes 803 oatmeal. I think I'll go oatmeal. I think that's what I used last time. I'm not sure. I think it was oatmeal though. Okay, so for the highlights now, I'm using 802 porcelain. So I want to highlight on the tip of her nose and on her lip and a little on the chin, forehead a little bit as well. And I already colored the insides of the eyes there. Okay. I think that's it. You know, later I do the shoulder, maybe on top of the ear a little bit, maybe there. Okay. All right. So now I've got the 804 black again, a little darker in here, the shading. And I got that terracotta 787 again. I just go over that. With the onyx black to give the shaded areas in the corners and in between the lips, underneath a little bit, and then the terracotta on top. Yeah, this tan paper really does absorb the pencil very well. Then some lines there. You have lines in the lips. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to go in and go dark like I did before with the terracotta. I'm just going to go in and fill it up. But almost before I do, because afterwards, I just remembered after I colored last time, I tried adding some caramel, and I think I'm going to add the caramel first. Now that well, it's on my mind. This is hazelnut. Where's the caramel? Caramel is number 805. Let's see if I can find it here. Give me 1 second. 403. Now here it is, 805. Okay, caramel. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more color here, some caramel before I go over it finally with the terracotta. So I just remember I wanted more shading with the caramel. Because I just didn't feel it was shaded enough. So I'm going to add more shading here, going over what shading I've done already, and make it a little expand on it a little bit. With the tan color underneath, though, I'm sure that's not even necessary to have the caramel. So the caramel I needed with the white paper, but it's probably not necessary since I already have tan. The tan color is like having a base of caramels, but I already started, so I'll just finish up. So otherwise, it'll look unbalanced. So just adding a little bit more here. One more layer. Now the porcelain color that I put down, it's kind of hard to see. It doesn't stand out the way white does. So I could go over it with a Prismacolor white pencil if I want to make it lighter, but I think I'll just leave it for now. Start with the neck. I could put some highlight in the front of the neck. I want to make it a little lighter there. So I've got the 802 porcelain. I'm just going to put that in the front here. So it looks a little more three-dimensional. And then putting the terracotta around it. Okay, so now I've got the Prismacolor pencil and I'm going to burnish that down. Does burnish very well on this paper. Very smooth, like the copy paper was. Ugh, yeah, that's not such a good highlight. I went a little extreme with the highlight. That's okay. I'll go over it again with some terracotta. I'm gonna put a light layer of terracotta over it so it doesn't look so. Ew. No, it's still showing up there very brightly. I press a little harder. I put a lot of highlight there with the porcelain. Wow. See, now the highlight really stays. Interesting. Hmm. I mean, it's all right. Maybe you know what I'll do instead? I'll get the porcelain 803. Oatmeal, I mean, oatmeal. It's a little bit darker, and I'm going to go over that next to the porcelain, sort of blend it because I want it to be more of a gradient there. I don't want it looking so. That's looking too light. Wow. But my work cut out for me with this paper. Still figuring out how to use it properly. Okay, I'm just going to go over it again. Now it's showing up. Okay. Yeah, because I already burnished it, so I'm having a tough time adding another layer now, naturally. Yeah, make sure you get your layers the way you want them before you burnish, because it's a struggle afterwards. See how that works. Does that work? Okay, I can live with that. That is doable. All right. Let's do the rest of the face. 787. And I'm going in. I started that already there. The terracotta. And we are covering up the face around the highlights. We got some highlights there. I think I'll leave it for later when I'm shadows. I think needs some darkening again, but do that after I'm done with this. So again, 787 terracotta. Okay, and now we are going to burnish. Let me get my glove on because I keep putting my hand on the page and I feel like the oils from my hand are gonna ruin it. Even though I can ruin it all by myself. But here we go. Yeah, I'm going in the opposite direction that I colored so I can get a smoother transition there. Smooth it out better. Very shaded. Whoa, that was dark. Not expecting that. See? All right, so because the paper is not as light as before, perhaps I should not have used such a dark color for the I don't know, let's see. Not done yet. It seems like the terracotta doesn't show up as much, or it's not as much more subdued. But I think I also have highlights that I didn't really get in as well the first time I did this, like on the forehead and the nose. So I think that makes it look different as well. It just seems like I made it a little too dark over there. I don't know in the right this area. It looks too black. See, so that was okay on the white paper. It's not working out. So I think that's. I should have used a brown instead of black. Yeah, 'cause I used the same black pencil onks on this paper, and it gave a nice shaded look, but it didn't look black. It looks brown. Whereas here, yee, yeah, what happened there? Here she's got a beard. Unintentionally. Let's see if I can fix this. Now it's already burnished, so I'm gonna be very limited with what I can do. But let's see if because I just want this to look shaded, not black. I shouldn't use black. See, yeah, it's a whole different ball game with the tan paper. Yeah, all new rules. What pencils to use. So now I know. No using the Onyx Black on portraits on the tan paper. No, no, no. Unless I cover it up well. I mean, you can use the Onyx Black, but then you're really going to cover it up with a lighter tone, like I'm doing now. I'm going over it with I'm pressing hard with the 787 terracotta to sort of get rid of that smoky look there. I didn't want it so smoky looking. Is it covering it? Oops, it's not helping. Okay, well, it looks a little less smoky here. I'm gonna color this over with the terracotta, pinken that up a little bit, pressing down a little harder. Oh, good. I can go over it. It is working. Okay, I think I can save it. Whew, that was a close call. Terracotta to the rescue. Or as I used it way too dark there with the black uh, on this paper. Next time I just go, I think dark brown. It's a bottom layer or a shaded layer, I should say. Because again, we already have a layer of color on here with the tan. So yeah, okay. I think I may have saved it. Okay, that worked. Okay. Now I'm going to once again burnish it with the Prismacolor colorless blender to smooth it out. I'm going over the highlight there. I had a highlight there. I'm just going to go right over it. Um, make it a little darker. And I got the 803 oatmeal, and I'm putting that on the highlights of the eyes. And then putting the terracotta under that. As before. There we go. Okay. Another layer of terracotta all over. And on the ears as well. Okay, let's see. Let's get out the colorless blender and smooth it out again. So I'm doing my second burnishing here with this paper. So I could not do this with the copy paper. So this paper is better quality. Again, it's 80 pounds. So that does allow me to do a couple of burnishes, not just one, which I'm very thankful for because I would not have been happy with how that's looked if I couldn't have added more terracotta. Okay, so this is looking a little better, I believe, with the additional layer. I want it to be shaded. I just didn't want it quite being so ashen. Need more color in there, some warmth. Okay. Now I think I have it. Now again, when I burnish it, I lose a lot of the shading, the darker shading. Some of them are under the nose and around the eyes. So I put that in again. Okay. How is that looking? Well, it's definitely shaded down. Very smooth now. After being burnished twice. Oh my goodness. All right, let me see. I'm going to use the 806. Well, that's the walnut. I'll use the walnut, the dark walnut, and I'll put the eyeshadow in again. Tops of the eyes a little bit. And the inside. Now I want the 787 for the inner eyes, and the corners of the eyes. Putting some eyeliner on here a little bit. The nose. All right, so that's how she's ended up looking so far. I think that's my light might be a little bit too light. I might just try to smooth that in a little bit. Yeah, it's too light. I'm just gonna add a little bit more. Cover a little 787 terracotta again. And just light darken that a little bit. Okay, that's a little better. I didn't want too light of a highlight there. It's kind of funny to me. This is a little better. I'm just gonna a little more terracotta on there. So I tone that down a little bit. All right, I like how she looks. All in all, I do wish next time I would not use black for the shading though of her face, but I'm kind of stuck with it now because I've already. I'm going to take the walnut brown here. Let me see. I'm going to cover it with walnut brown now. See if that can fix it a little bit so it's a little less ashen looking to me. I don't know. That's not working. Yeah, it's not really helping. Yeah. But I kind of like how the highlights and the terracotta look, you know. I mean, it might be okay that I shaded it this way. It's okay. I mean, I'd have to finish the page to know for sure because if I put a lot of bright colors and see at the end, because I think right now it looks very dark, but then when you put very vivid things around or in the background, then suddenly her face won't look so um, dark. Like the shading won't look so awkward, if that makes any sense. It just looks a little awkward to me right now. But I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. All right, so let me see once again. I will put them side by side here. Um, yeah, I mean, look at that. How much more vivid that is. Wow. I mean, this is in the lighter. Now the light is very bright, so if I didn't bring down the brightness of the light there, yeah, that looks really good now. I'm really liking the tan one much better. I mean, I like them both, but wow, she really glows over here. I think with this paper, and it's yeah. I mean, you can go either way with oops, that's cool light, warm light, regular light. So cool, warm, normal. Yeah. So now this in this light, this looks much lighter than it actually is. So that's why I like to bring down the lighting a little bit. Like that's more. This is more what it looks like in person. So I feel like that's more accurate. Yeah, but I think it's okay. I think even though, yeah, I think that the shading worked out, and maybe the eyes look too white. The eyes look too light. I mean, it doesn't look like I colored. Is it just me or the eyes look like I haven't colored anything? 788, which is clove. I'm gonna go in with clove. I think I used clove last time. More of a greenish, sort of a greenish color. It's like green eyes. Yeah, it looks a little better. Okay, and I think that also. I don't know it looks too white in here. I'm gonna use the clove on it. I use a yellowish color on there, so I'm just gonna go over that a little bit with the clove. So the eyeballs just look a little too um, uncolored. I'm gonna go with the walnut. It just looks like they're not colored in or something. There we go. Let's try that. How's that looking? Okay, that's better. I think that looks better. The eyes look more real there. And I'm going over the walnut over the eyebrows. Let's do the eyebrows. Look a little bit better there. Yeah. putting in some more touches with the shading. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with how she looks. I'm gonna probably finish this, and I may finish this one as well just to compare. I mean, these pencils work well with both types of paper, so you can't go wrong. I don't think either way you do it. Phew, she came out all right. So there you have it. That is what I have for you today. So I hope you found this interesting. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.